Leo of psychedelic Irish band Harmundi shares how an improvisational set of tunes turned into their brand new single, and I infuse a traditional Irish song with a little bit of New Orleans. It's Pub Songs and Stories, show number 239. Welcome to Pub Songs and Stories. This is the virtual public house for musicians to share the stories and inspiration behind their music with your host, Marc Gunn. Subscribe to the podcast at pubsong.com. Greetings all, I hope you are doing great, and I hope you enjoyed that last episode of the podcast where I shared a concert from Dragon Con. Man, September I felt like it was a really busy month since I spent a lot of time away from home for a change, something that I haven't done nearly as much in the past couple years. So it was a big change. Of course, if you want to find out more about it, you can listen to the podcast that I did on those, but they are exclusively available for my patrons on Patreon. And today's show is brought to you by my Gunn Runners on Patreon. They get to hear the show before you do, and they get MP3s of songs played in the show. And of course, I have lots of other exclusive podcasts and blogs that I share there. Special thanks to Gabriel Eggers, Jessica Asbury, and Patricia deVarennes. They are all my newest patrons. I'm hoping to have new songs that I'll be sharing and giving away on my Patreon in the coming month, and that's partially because I hope to get back to songwriting more, especially since season 2 of the End of the Verse podcast with Mikey Mason is being relaunched. And that's where we watch pop culture TV shows and write songs about it. The 0 episode of season 2 was released on Saturday. Upcoming shows, October 7th is Browncoat Drinking Songs on Coffee with the Celtfather. October 15th through 17th is Multiverse in Atlanta, Georgia. October 21st is Firefly Drinking Songs on Bandcamp. Tickets go on sale on Thursday, and you can save when you join that Gunn Runners Club, so check it out. Harmundi is a Celtic band out of Sao Paolo, Brazil. Leo of Harmundi shares how an improvisational set of tunes turned into their brand new single. Let's hear the story.
Hi, I'm Leo. I'm the flutist with Harmundi. We like to call ourselves a psychedelic Irish music band because a great part of our music is made out of improvisations, sort of a real-time dialogue between the instruments. Among our sets, one in particular called Jump at The Morrison has been present in every show we ever played and in each one of our albums, although every time we do it, it comes out significantly different because at least half of the set is created on spot and with no time limit. We based our new single on the set. The pandemics proved a time to abandon our comfort zones, so we decided to record the thing as a single in yet a different and newer way. We took out both of the tunes in the set. The set was actually composed of Jump at the Sun and Morrison's Jig, so we took out the tunes. We just left the improvisation bits. In contrary to what we are also used to do, the harmony was actually composed first by our guitarist, and then the melodies were created following her progressions. The pandemics were also a time for us to relearn our concepts of time and to develop a new relationship with the here and now. Because of that, we made it our shortest track yet. Very, very different from what we're also used to. We are used to working with 6 to 10 minutes per track. And we made it with no clear beginning, middle, or end, in a way that some music traditions of the world also work. The track can be looped, and hence the name actually, which can also produce a loop. It's called Up at the Low. Or the track can be seen as a sort of a river that just flows forward. And in that case, to watch it go is to simply stay with the flow of the present moment. The single was recorded in our own personal home studios and mixed by our mandolinist. The artwork was made by myself. I'm also a photographer, so I based the artwork on one of my photos.
You can find out more about Harmundi at harmundi.art, and you can enjoy their Jump at The Morrison set on show number 525 of the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast. You can also buy their music on Bandcamp, which is my favorite place to recommend you to buy, and that's because that's where artists get paid the most. So if you enjoy the music, check out the band and maybe buy some merch and music and follow them on social. Send them lots of love, because you should support what you love. If this show made you happy, please join the Gunn Runners Club on Patreon. Your support pays for the production and promotion of my music and this podcast. If you have questions or comments, drop me an email. Again, you'll save 15% with an annual membership. Now, in 1999, I was playing on the South Mall with the Brobdingnagian Bards, and we played at lunchtime 5 days a week to try and improve our chops and maybe make a few fans. And fans we made. More and more people sat in the grass of the mall eating their lunch and listening to us play. Now, at the end of one show, a man approached us and asked if we knew some Celtic bands and songs. I was brand new to Celtic music at the time. I had no clue who the Wolf Tones were, the Irish Balladeers, or Christy Moore. And when he came back, he brought me a mixtape with a couple albums by those first two and a few tracks by Christy Moore as well. And of course, I ate it up. I listened to the cassette constantly. It was my true entry into the world of Celtic music, and the two tracks by Christy Moore stood out the most. One was a brilliant rockin' version of Lanigan's Ball, which I later covered, and the fiddle and the ballroom, oh my God, they were just absolutely amazing. If you get a chance to hear his version, go check it out. The other was a 3/4 time signature version of Johnny Jump Up. I soon added that to our repertoire. Our version stood out at Excalibur Fantasy Fair because of the rhythm. You see, the song was making its rounds on the fair circuit. The Bedlam Bard sang it, and there was a bunch of people at the tavern at Excalibur who also sang it. But the later version was very poppy. At the time, I was really anti-pop, so the upbeat vocal harmonies just annoyed the hell out of me. It wasn't actually until last year that I realized Gaelic Storm released a version of Johnny Jump Up on their album What's the Rumpus, and I'm guessing that's where the upbeat version gained popularity, but I don't know for sure. Nevertheless, when the Brobdingnagian Bards split up in 2008, I wanted to do something new with the song. I moved to New Orleans in 2009, and when I sat down to record Happy Songs of Death, I decided to give it a little rhythm of its own, and it turned into quite a fun song to sing. You can hear me sing the song on episode number 222, St. Patrick's Day Gift. I do highly recommend you check out that episode if you haven't. I don't really talk much about the song, but I do share a Celtic rock version that I got to sing on by Tua de Dennen. It is insanely awesome. So if you haven't checked that out, go check out 222. You'll find a link in the show notes for this episode. All right, let me finish up with Johnny Jump Up. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you again next week. Oh, and next week you can hear a story and a tune by Miran Nick Owley from my 2019 Celtic Invasion of Dingle. So stay tuned for that. All right, let me sing to you Johnny Jump Up. Sláinte. I tell you a story that happened to me one day as I went down to Yar by the sea. The sun, it was bright and the day it was warm. Says I, a quiet pint wouldn't do me no harm. I went in and I called for a bottle of stout. Says the barman, I'm sorry, all the beer's sold out. Try whiskey or paddy, 10 years in the wood. Says I, I'll try cider, I've heard that it's good. Oh, I'll never again. If I live to be 100 or 110, I fell to the ground. I could not get up after drinking a quart of that Johnny Jump Up. After Lord and a turn, I made straight for the yard where I bumped into the big civic guard. Come here, my boy. Oh, don't you know I'm the law? Well, I up with me fist and I shattered his jaw. He fell to the ground with his knees doubled up, but it wasn't I hit him, it was the Johnny Jump Up. The next thing I met down in Yar by the sea was a cripple on crutches, and said he to me, I'm afraid for me life. Oh, you'll be hit by a cart, but you help me on down to the Celtic Knot Bar. So downing a pint of that cider so sweet, he threw down his crutches and danced on his feet. Oh, I'll never again. If I live to be 100 or 110, I fell to the ground. I could not get up after drinking a quart of that Johnny Jump Up. Well, I went up the Lee Road, a friend for to see. They call it the Madhouse in Port by the Lee. And when I got there, sure the truth I will tell, they had the poor bugger locked up in the cell. Said the guards, testing him, say these words if you can. Around the rugged rocks, the ragged rascal ran. To him I'm not crazy, to him I'm not mad. It was only 6, 7, 12 pints I had. I'll never again, if I live to be 100, 110, I fell to the ground. I could not get up, had the drink and a card that Johnny jumped on. Well, a man died in the mines by the name of McNabb. They washed him, laid him outside on the slab, and after the coroner's measurements did take, his wife took him home to a bloody fine wake. About 12 o'clock, and the beer was high, and the corpse he set up, and he says the sigh, I can't get to heaven, they won't let me up till I bring them a card of that Johnny jump up. Now I never again, if I live to be 100, 110, I fell to the ground. I could not get up, had the drink and a card of that Johnny jump up. Now I never again, if I live to be 100, 110, I fell to the ground. I could not get up, had the drink and a card of that Johnny jump up. Pub Songs Podcast is produced by Marc Gunn. The show is edited by Mitchell Peterson with graphics by Miranda Nelson Designs. You can subscribe and listen wherever you find podcasts. You can also subscribe to my mailing list. You will get regular updates of new music, podcasts, special offers, and you'll get 21 songs for free. Welcome to the pub at pubsong.com.